Games at Brrraaains A Head-Banging Life here. Carl and Damon doing a 10 things, a socially distanced 10 things. And it is all about the classic horror game, Silent Hill. It's one of those where you kind of can't believe we haven't already done this, but we haven't. So, yeah. And rather than do them as a bunch, because it's tempting to do like Silent Hill 1, 2, and 3 together, but I don't know how familiar you are with the sequels.
Number 2, but after that, no. I mean, I've obviously heard that after like number 2, they went terribly badly wrong.
It's interesting because like number 2 is my favorite Silent Hill game. I think it's the best one. 3's good because it continues. It's like a direct sequel to Silent Hill 1.
Yep.
So it's good in that. But then like later sequels like Homecoming and Downpour, they've got good things about them, but they're not the original. The original is iconic, right?
Yeah, of course.
It's one of those where you think it's always like compared to Resident Evil, isn't it?
yeah, just a bit. Yeah.
For some reason, because like they're both horror games that came out in the same period. As always, this is 10 things we love about Silent Hill. We will have 10 things we hate about Silent Hill, but we're starting with the love. I'll get us started. Yeah.
Yep.
Right, my first one. So for me, right, it absolutely nailed what a survival horror is supposed to be. The opening 10 to 15 minutes of that game particularly, where you're just basically dropped into town and you chase the shadowy figure of your daughter. You end up going down an alleyway, and then as you're going for that alleyway, it starts to change to the dark Silent Hill. You have no clue what's going on. You've got no weapons. It's dark. It's confusing. I think like when I think of survival horror, Resident Evil has it. Of course it does. It's Resident Evil, the original. But for some reason, I've always saw this one as more of a horror game.
Yeah, no, again, that's my first one. This is actually probably the first horror game which actually made you jump.
Yep.
Yeah, I thought. Yeah, I mean, again, like you said, it gets compared to Resident Evil, but Resident Evil never really made me jump. Made you wary. There's a lot of things about this game which I've got a lot on my list where it makes you. I don't know, it makes the hair stand up on the back of your neck.
I think that's a good shout. I think it's a great. It's like the difference between watching Dawn of the Dead and Day of the Dead. Now, do you know them both well? So Dawn of the Dead is Resident Evil. It's got its scares, its chilling moments, it's cold and dark, zombies and horror and all that. Mm-hmm. But it's got a lighter feel as well, whereas Day of the Dead is just non-stop horribleness.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Okay. Well, we had the same one, so I'll go again. The fog system. Now, the way the fog system worked in the Silent Hill was really clever. It worked to hide things from sight while also making the limitations of the game less obvious. Now, when you remember the fogging system from, say, the Nintendo 64. Now, whenever I think of a game that used that, I always think of Turok, particularly Turok 2 Seeds of Evil, which was horrendous for the fogging system, where they'd have that fog to try and hide the limitations that would then load things when you got closer. Ultimately, Silent Hill was doing the same thing, except it incorporated it into its mechanic, into how the world is, and something that's so iconic that even the movie, the adaptation, would use that as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like I said, I always found the fog again perfect for the start of the game.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously, it adds in with the scariness of the game, you know.
Yeah, because you generally couldn't see what was in it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I didn't have that one. My second one is the crossing over. Yeah.
Oh, you mean
Yeah, I thought it was a very clever idea. You know, obviously, like for one moment you're on the good side. Because obviously even the good side had enemies. But like, 1 minute you're on the good side, and the next suddenly you're on the bad side. I mean, there's certain areas in the game, which obviously again I'll get into on further down, where the dark side is just really, really freaky.
this?
What? Agreed. I think it's probably almost that noise and the sound of the switchover, the horns, the warning horns, is ingrained in pop culture. Like, you've seen Silent Hill, the movie, right?
Yeah.
How that movie's all right at best, but how excited did you get when you first heard that? And you were like, oh shit, they're doing it, the thing. There were later moments where like it crosses over without that horn system, which is fine, but man, that warning horn it used to get, so fucking cool. And the contrast, as you said, between normal streets, you know, it was a town, and then there's grating and there's floors and these drops into nothingness. Really fucking cool.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Weirdly enough, I don't have it like that specifically. But I will go into one that kind of touches in it, which you kind of actually said at the start. I should have already done this one, which is you said about being scary. And I said a generally creepy game, way more than Resident Evil was. So I actually had the same thing, basically. Yeah. I think Silent Hill ramped up the creep factor more than anything else. Like, as you said the hairs. Get the hairs, you know, and yeah, I think, I agree. Yeah.
Okay, so my next one is the enemies.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought there was quite a good range of enemies, you know. You know, I mean, obviously, like most games, obviously they keep obviously repeating enemies, but I mean, there's certain enemies like, you know, for example, in the hospital, the nurses.
Yep.
You know, freaky, scary, the way they moved. You know, it just, whenever you walk into a room and you see a nurse walking towards there with scissors, it's the way they move. It kind of reminded me of like The Grudge, you know, the way she moves.
Yeah,
it's just really, again, it adds perfectly to the scare factor of the game.
I agree. I've got enemies as well. I've actually only named two because on my hate video, I will get to the enemies as well. But
yeah, me too.
Obviously, the nurses, they're so iconic. They would also appear in the movie too. And weirdly enough, we remember them for that kind of jerky thing. But if you remember the original game, they didn't really move like that. They moved slow, but they didn't do that. Yep. Later games did that more. And I think that's what, you know.
For me, another one is the music. I thought the music was again perfect for the game. You know, it was very suspense music. It wasn't over the top. It was quite eerie. You know, it was very eerie.
I agree. One thing Silent Hill and Resident Evil definitely have common is their clever use of music and sound effects.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't have it though. I will say though, I don't know. No, it's not on my hate list, but I will mention, you know, the famous intro music, that ringing like, you know, yeah. I hate that. I hate that intro. It gets better as it goes on, but that ringing noise, I hate.
Yeah, I mean, I never really understood why they did that for the intro.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a very unusual sort of music, but I mean, like I said, it was about 10 seconds, and then obviously it went into a bit more. But yeah.
Yeah, like a trailer. It was like, I remember I was open with a fucking like a trailer of the game you were about to play. Very strange.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Right. Locations. Silent Hill has some great locations. It's very much almost like a dungeon game, like Legend of Zelda in a way, where you've got your area, and then you've got to go to specific like dungeons and
Yep.
complete them to get something that will unlock another. And the two that stand out, the school, because for me, that was the best part about the school was where you go there in normal Silent Hill.
Yep.
Because, you know, it's a school. And the hospital, obviously. The hospital has its own things. But they're the two that I remember the most. The school and the hospital.
Yeah, I mean, I've got the school and the hospital on two separate points, because for areas, I mean, the school and the hospital. I mean, the hospital on the dark side was so freaky. It was like literally, I mean, the rooms were all like grey ear. There's like blood all over the walls.
Yeah, there's some good shit in there.
And like I said, the school. I mean, I think there's one area in the school where you're in the courtyard, and then suddenly it just turns, and it's literally just it's literally a big clock tower from doors too.
You go in the clock tower, and you cross over in the clock tower, and then you come out into the same area, but you're now in the bad Silent Hill.
Yeah, I mean, for area wise, I mean, for like that sort of style of game, the school and hospital have got to be up there, like literally like the top, top. I mean, it kind of reminds me. It's obviously different style of games, but like sort of like Shadow Man when you're in the tower.
Okay, yeah.
That sort of style there, but yeah, obviously
like
different sort of style game.
So that was two you had, yeah?
Yeah, two, yeah.
Right, I'll do two then. One's really simple. It's actually related to the school, which is a specific scare. A specific scare that when I played it a few months back, still sent a shiver up my body. In the school, there is a toilet. There is nothing in these toilets. One of them, the girls' room, on one of the floors, you go in there, and there's nothing in there, no ammo at any reason, and you hear a girl crying. That's it. What the fuck, man? That is so chilling.
No, I completely forgot about that. But after you saying it, I've just literally had a flashback in my head, and I remember that. Isn't there a scene where like a ghost sort of like runs out of the bathroom or a shadow, isn't that?
Not that I remember, no.
Oh no, I might be on about something different. But yeah,
I know the little ghost babies, like the little squeaky ghost babies.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the standout scare for me.
Mm.
The other one, I actually really like the map system. I love a map system that pretty much tells you where you've been, what you've been doing, and so on. I've always been a fan of Silent Hill's map system of red markings. So the map system on the overarching map would, and all of them, put crosses, like as if he's writing the map himself. Where you've been. If a door was open, it'd get marked in a certain way. If there was a puzzle in there, it'd get a question mark. And it meant, like in big areas, and the school and the hospitals are good places for examples of this. You could go, right, I feel like I've been everywhere. Bring up the map, check your red marks, and go, oh, there's a door there I haven't tried. Boom. Love that. Used to love running around the outside and getting that map covered in red with all the big X's where the roads are collapsed and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, of course. Again, I mean that's one of mine too, But because that was always the fun about it. You always had to make sure you completed the entire map, literally checked everywhere to get everything marked off. Because obviously it made it easier for you. I mean, again, it's a weird comparison, but I always compared it to me personally, like to Shenmue completing the book.
Okay.
You know, his little book, where you obviously you do certain things, you fill out the notepad, So I always compared to that, yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay, I'll go again then. Right, I want to lead. No, should we do it now? You probably got this one. You better have this one, otherwise you're wrong. So character-wise, right? It has got some memorable characters, of course.
Mm-hmm.
One stands out. One part of that story stands out more than anything else, and it is Lisa, who is a nurse you meet early on, and she's very mysterious. Seems to have lost her memory. And I don't want to we're not going to spoil it here. We're not going to do spoilers. We're not going to say what happens. But holy shit, is it a gut punch. And it is preceded by one of the most, I'd say, horrifying scenes, like cut scenes, with a quality piece of music and a horrible sort of end to that angle. Wow.
Yeah, you know, obviously, of course, I had that one. I mean, it's again, when I keep in spoilers, shocking, sad.
Yeah.
Harry,
Lisa, what's the matter with you?
I get it now. Why I'm still alive even though everyone else is dead.
I mean, just God, literally, it was like wow, I can't believe that. Seriously, after all that, that's what happens.
Yeah.
You know?
It's annoying because you kind of suspect something going through the game, but you can't really get its clear picture. And then when the picture's given a bit more clarity and it plays out, and I think I'm trying to avoid spoilers, but the hardest part is the standing on the other side of the door.
Oh yeah.
Like that's the yeah. I mean, we are saying quite a bit, but yeah, I think I think that might be the crowning glory across all Silent Hill games. That particular moment.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. I've got two more. How many more you got?
I've got two more too.
Okay. Right. Right. You go then.
Okay. Well, this one here is on my positives and on my negatives.
Okay.
But I always enjoyed the fact that you always ran out of ammo. It was not a sort of game like Resident Evil. If you have it on easy, you never have an issue with ammo.
Yeah.
Well, this game here, it was always a struggle. I mean, obviously you had the joys of you could pick up like big metal bars and stuff like that.
Weapons, yeah.
Weapons, yeah. But ammo was very hard to come by in that game.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I'm always more of a this is a survival horror. One of the things that kind of drives me nuts is that people call, when people say Resident Evil lost its survival horror way around about Resident Evil 4. Have you heard that?
Yeah, I've heard that before, yeah.
They're wrong. I've always said it lost its way at Resident Evil 2 because Resident Evil 2 is not a hard game. You never run out of ammo. It has an abundance of weapons. Do you see what I mean? So for me, Resident Evil 1 and Silent Hill, and even Silent Hill 2 are the survival horror games. We keep making a comparison to Resident Evil, and I said at the start it's almost impossible not to, and I'm now going to make another one, unfortunately, which is simply, right, so when you think of Resident Evil and you think about completing, and you think, what do you get when you complete Resident Evil? You get bonus items for completing it in certain speed, saves and stuff like that. Reasons to play it again. Silent Hill had more reasons. Multiple endings and many different variations on unlocked weapons and items. In fact, there was, I think, at least 4 to 5 different reasons to play Silent Hill in different manner.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's what you want from a game. You don't want a game where you can complete it once and then that's it. You want to have something to make you want to go back and do it again.
Yeah.
My last one is, I'm surprised you haven't said it yet, but you might have now. But it was the noise. There was a crackling sound.
Oh, the radio.
Yeah, the radio. So I always found that very cool. So you always knew how close the enemy was, or when they were approaching you. I always thought that was a very clever, little signal.
Yeah. I don't have it, but you're right. It is a clever mechanic because it creates a static from the radio increases as they get nearer. It was a good indication. I reckon the reason I might not have it is because it's not the best indicator when there's a lot of enemies or multiple enemies. Do you see what I mean? I think it works best. I think it works best in the dungeons, in the hospitals and places like that, rather than the streets, because the streets are too open. You don't know where they're coming from. In the hospital, great, and stuff like that. Now, my last one is simple. Its success, we already kind of touched upon this. It's a bit cheating, but its success meant we got a sequel, which is still the best Silent Hill game to date. And that's why you got to love Silent Hill, because thanks to that, we got Silent Hill 2. So there you go.
Yeah, definitely.
Silent Hill, that's our 10 things we love about it. Make sure you tune in because we're going to have 10 things we hate about it too. Thank you very much for watching. You can check us out on gbhbl.com as well as on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and Tumblr. Go to Patreon to help us out over there. That's patreon.com/gbhbl, as well as Big Cartel, where you can find some of our merchandise. We have a podcast running on SoundCloud and Apple Podcasts. And of course, if you like this video, do us a favour, hit the subscribe button and help the channel grow. Games, horror and heavy metal. What else is life for?